Hey, welcome on in. It is lunch with not Claibs, but Jay and Joe here on claibsonline.com. I'm Joe Roderick, joined alongside by Jay Randolph Jr. Jay, Claibs is vacationing this week.
Outstanding. He's one of the hardest working men in show business. He deserves a break.
He is. So Cardinals went to Ohio. Claibs did not go with to Ohio. He went his own. He went his own way. So he'll be back next week. He'll be back on the broadcast coming up on Friday when the Cardinals are back home. So he will. So you'll be able to hear him on the Mighty Mocs. But for now, it's you get the two of us today. Jay, how you doing? I see the branding in the background, the Sullivan Golf Course back there. You're a Sullivan man now.
I am a Sullivanite. I've lived here for 2 months. It's a unique town, to put it lightly. I kind of like it. Nobody messes with me. I'm not Jay Jr. down here. I'm the fat golf pro. It's just it's unique. I told somebody the other day, it's like I'm at summer camp, but the golf course this year has been in fantastic shape. It's been fun to see. We've got some newer people coming back to the golf course because, Joe, it used to be a private golf course. Now, we still got a lot of people that are pass holders that are very loyal to the property, that were members when it was a club, but we're open to the public and we're having fun 24/7.
What's the course like there for people that might want to make? And what is it? About an hour and a half drive from St. Louis? Or
no, it's not an hour and a half.
What is it?
Talking about it? 45 minutes.
Okay, I'm sorry, I don't know. My Missouri geography is a little off. I don't know where. So where?
It's going to be over $1 for you on the east side, but from 44 and 141, it's 45 minutes, and it's a unique golf course in the aspect that there's a lot of nuances to it. It's a short golf course, not very long, but I love the fact we finished with 2 par 5s, which gives the guy a chance maybe to make a birdie on one of the last 2 holes. So it's a fun spot, and it's in the best shape it's been in years. We got a new grass called Blue Muta, and it's taken, and it's a lot of fun.
And the prices and everything, I know the best rates are online, Jay. But for people that are planning a weekend trip out there, what can they expect to spend?
Nicely done with the best rates online. Our rates online are the same, because I came in and I said we're going to lower the prices, and we're going to give people a value, and we're going to have fun, and I think that's what we're doing. I mean, you can play the golf course on a Saturday morning for $29. You can play it on a Saturday afternoon for $20. You can play 9 for $10, and we got cold Budweiser.
All right. What about Freddie Leach? You get him out there yet?
We do not have FLGS yet.
It's that's a 2022 project.
Absolutely.
All right. So you're down there. You're doing all this here on the show, Jay. As you know, I know you watch each and every week as we do it here. By the way, presented by Munganess St. Louis Acura, Ameren, Illinois, and Ryan Kelly, the home loan expert. Find him online at thehomeloanexpert.com. Do you still follow the Cardinals? Are you still watching the Redbirds each and every night, or just kind of casually?
I'm going to be honest with you, Joe. I'm one of those people that doesn't get the games. I'm a YouTuber. And I have not followed them much at all this year. I know they're having a disappointing season because I listen to people talk about them and hear about different things. I think there's been a number of things that's kind of happened to them. Obviously, Claibs is closer to the whole situation, but you have a good sense of what's going on. I mean, I think a lot of things have gone wrong when they needed a lot of things to go right.
I think we're seeing it here, and I think it's most prevalent right now as we get to the trade deadline this Friday. Is as you look at this team, they have nothing to trade. They don't have assets to trade away because they're not going to sell. They're not going to do what the Cubs are doing this year and just giving away everybody. And then when you look at what's out there to acquire, they're not going to go out there and make that big of a splash. Being 8 games back right now, they're not going to go out and sell the farm for Trey Turner out of the Nationals. They're not going to be all in on a guy like Max Scherzer this year, because right now they're in a spot where it's kind of a long shot to make the postseason. So right. You look at what they have and what they do. And then you look at the fact that Jack Flaherty, Miles Michaelis might be coming back, and it's going to piss off fans, but those are going to be your two big trade deadline acquisitions.
Yeah, I mean, they're in a catch-22. There's no real sense in trying to make a big play that's going to cost you maybe in the long run. And as you said, Joe, they don't have much to deal. So, they'll make a couple of moves. I think they've already maybe gotten a couple of pitchers I heard this morning.
No names, though. Nobody you've ever heard of.
I wouldn't have heard of them anyway, probably. But, the sport in itself, I will never not be a Cardinal baseball fan. But unfortunately, I'm kind of becoming an okay when they're good and going to make the playoffs, I'll pay attention. And part of that's the fact I can't watch them. But that's a whole nother story.
No, it's so if Bally came out with the you pay just for Bally and you get that, would you do that?
I'd do it at a $5.99 clip, but I'm not doing it at $19.99.
Yeah, I dropped DirecTV earlier this year, and I've been, as I think a lot of people do these days, kind of sharing the accounts around. I pay for Hulu TV. That's how I'm watching the Olympics right now is on Hulu, and doing that, and kind of, and that's been working fine. And that's, I wanted that. I wanted to get something just for wrestling, honestly. And that's to watch, but 3 nights a week I watch wrestling. I wanted something for that. And for me, that's worth whatever $60 a month as opposed to DirecTV, which was over $200 a month.
We're getting very close to something I heard predicted at the National Cable Television Academy convention that I went to back in the early, probably 94. We're almost at the point where you're going, if you wanted to, and some do, you're strictly pay for what you want. Yeah. Exactly what you want. Okay, I want this show on the Discovery, so I'm going to get Discovery. And then I got to get my Peacock. And, at some point, it may just go to where you want to watch a show, you're paying a quarter to watch it. I don't know. I mean, it's going to be very interesting with all the bundling. And for the sports folks, it's an interesting time because after the COVID, I still think some people, I saw where was I today? I was at a guy's place and he had a promotional piece from the Cardinals, okay? And it was for travel professionals to get a all-inclusive seat with the food and the beer and the other jazz.
Yeah.
For $59, Joe.
They send that out every year, actually. They send it out. They send it out to healthcare professionals. They send it out to.
Okay, so it's just an offer that they make on an annual basis.
Yeah, you never get games against the Cubs. You rarely get. Occasionally, you'll get a Sunday game thrown in there, but for the most part, it's weekday games against bad teams that you get. But those deals that are out there. You're still, Jay, I went to a game last week. I took Hudson to the game last Wednesday night.
Right.
Cubs Cardinals, Wednesday night in July. We sat behind the Cardinals bullpen for $8.
What did it cost you to park?
I got a street that I park on for free. Little secret that I got about 2 blocks from the stadium.
Must be nice.
Yeah. You just don't start with me about paying for parking at the stadium.
Good point. I just think it's one of those years as it relates to the Redbirds where it's a dead year, but the key is going to be how you come out of the dead year. Because if you don't go upward, there's going to be changes, I got to believe, don't you?
I think that, yes, there will be organizational changes, which we don't see. And you have been a Cardinal fan a lot longer than I have and have seen a lot more bad years of this organization than I have. So when you look at a year like this, where they're sitting right now at 500, you've been you've watched seasons in the 80s and 90s where, I mean, 400 was a hope.
Well, in the 70s, we also had really good players, but we didn't have very good teams. Different things worked against them, a couple of bad trades and all that. But, it got lean, especially in that latter part after Whitey, before Tony came in. But, that's why my hope is this is a dead year, that maybe the whole, and I'm not putting anything on, you can't blame COVID, but you never know how people react to that. You never know about their mindset. And, they've had guys that haven't done what they've needed them to do, and they've had injuries. So I'm hopeful that it's just a bump in the road.
I mean, you look at the last 30 some years of the Cardinals, their worst year that they had would have been 90 that you look at, but the other struggles that they had throughout that time, I think it's kind of fitting that you can compare it. You look at the 94 season, that was bad for the Cardinals, where they went on strike and the season was shortened. And then the following year, the 95 season, the year after the strike, when fans weren't showing up, when fans were pissed off at the game, that was another bad year. And you look at it this year, last year, that you lose a season or you lose almost a third of the season to COVID, no revenue, no fans coming in. And this year you have a slow start to that again, to where it's a similar situation for a completely different reason, but where you knew that 96 was going to be a huge rebound of a year. Right now, you don't know what's going to happen in 2022 with the laborer talks.
Joe, I think there's a segment of the fan base that is reevaluating not only their financial commitment, but their emotional commitment. I mean, let's be honest, Cardinal fans get nutty. They get deep into it. Because it's been a downtime and because of the COVID, I'm not saying a ton of people, but I think some people, and me included, have kind of reevaluated. It's always amazed me, as somebody who's been fortunate enough not to have to pay to go to a lot of sporting events, that people will spend the type of money they do. I mean, that's a big commitment. For some people, that's a game changer. They choose that other than something else, a new couch or whatever.
Oh, absolutely. That goes for all of these sports. That goes for everything. You look at, bring it back to wrestling again. They just started going back on the road and doing that. And I have been to events where some people treat that as some families would treat going to Disney World for a week. And everything they just invest all of their money into that. And I think you're going to see a lot of these different companies and a lot of these things just kind of, wondering if those fans are going to be coming back to that and wanting to invest their money in something like that.
And what's the best way not to lose that revenue? I mean,
put on an entertaining product.
Well, no question. It's a unique time. I mean, there's a lot of opportunity out there, but there's also going to be a lot of hiccups. I truly believe, especially in the media realm, because of all the outlets. I see all these things about the Olympic ratings and nobody's watching, and I'm not watching. It's so different from when I was, 11 years old in 1980 watching the U.S. Olympic hockey team, because there were only 5 things on the channel anyway.
Yeah. Well, you go, and I mentioned earlier, I have Hulu TV. I don't know how YouTube is set up for that, but I go to Hulu, and it will show me what's live. But they use the same logo for all of the events. So it just says Olympics. It says it, across 5 screens or whatever. So you have to really pay attention and really read closely to see what you're about to click on and watch. Because if you're wanting, that if you're going to NBC, you're either going to be seeing swimming, track and field, gymnastics. They're going to show the top 3. Those are the things that people tune in for. Those are the ones, I think, as Frank put it when I had him on last week, the housewives that watch the Olympics, that are watching Channel 5, that's what they're tuning in to see. But the other ones, you're like, okay, handball or whatever,
3 on 3.
That the U.S. men did not qualify for.
How did that happen?
I don't know if there were restrictions on who could play in that. But I gotta think you can put 3 former NBA players that are at 42 years old, put them in a 3-on-3 environment, and they'd be able to play that, right?
But why?
For an Olympic gold medal.
I mean, so are we going to get to the point where we're playing beach basketball? I mean, this basketball in the Olympic sport has been played on a court, and it's the way it's been, and it's. I mean, are we going to have everything in there? I mean, I would imagine, again, I'm not watching. Are the computer games in there yet?
They are not in there yet. It's going to be a while before you get the e-games. It's going to be.
They got 3-on-3 hoops.
They just added skateboarding.
I can understand skateboarding more than 3-on-3.
They have surfing. I don't know how you judge surfing.
I guess you'd be a former surfer and you'd know if they were surfing well. They all look like they're surfing well to me until they crash.
And that's the thing, to stay up there on the board for that long. And also, though, you're competing against different waves every time. So
right. You can't control whether you're going to get the big kahuna.
Right. So I don't know how that gets scored. Right. But here, so have you watched any handball ever?
Yes, I've watched it before and played it.
You've played handball.
We used to play handball at Ladue Junior High. Truth.
Do you think that a sport like that the U.S. could go out and get and put together athletes from that they could get Patrick Mahomes, or they can get LeBron, or they can get athletes from other sports and put together a team to go there and win a gold medal?
No, because no team, the Kansas City Chiefs are not letting Pat Mahomes go across the street. I mean, no. I mean, you if you wanted to, you could start training athletes and have academies like IMG does and teach young kids how to play handball like they do in other countries and make them handball players instead of hoopsters or baseball players or football players. But I don't think it's going to take over here.
I also saw the debate that if the NFL put together a team of players for rugby, they could just go out and dominate in the game of rugby at the Olympics.
I'm going to tell you, I know some of those guys. You know some of those guys. We both covered them. There's some of those guys that would be okay, and they could hang. But there's a lot of those guys after the first or second play would say, that's it. That's all for me. Nope, I'll go back.
I think that it would take a lot of the cardio training to run back and forth, because you're not doing a play for 10 seconds and then getting 25 seconds to rest.
No, those guys, I mean, they're every bit, soccer players get to, no offense to the soccer folk out there, they get to take a little downtime from time to time. Those rugby cats, they seem to be going, I don't care how fast they're going, even if they're all together, you're moving energy, man.
Absolutely, yeah. So you still got 2 weeks left of the games. You could try checking some.
I'm gonna do the golf. I got a draft.
How are they scoring the golf? How are they? How are they?
I mean, it's all based on your golf score. It's like a golf tournament, and then the best team score. I think that maybe they count 2 of 3 players. I don't know, but then there's certain guys that are playing as individual. I mean, that shows you. I look forward to it, but I'm not locked into it, even though I got a DraftKings game for it that I got to figure out.
But I know when it was first announced, the excitement was, all right, in 2020, Tiger was going to be 40 years old, and maybe Tiger could add a gold medal to everything else that he's won in his life. And now it's 2021, and a lot of other stuff has happened, not only to the Olympics, but also to Tiger, and he's not there. Who is representing and now you saw already John Rahm went home. Who else was somebody else? Yeah. Right. So those two both came home from that. I don't even know who's there representing the U.S.
The U.S. will have Patrick Reed will fill in for Bryson, I believe. And then it will be Colin Morikawa, Xander Schauffele, and Justin Thomas. So, I mean, some pretty stellar guys.
You surprised Koepka didn't jump in there when DeChambeau dropped out to take his spot?
No, I think Brooks is enjoying his rest before the FedEx next week down in Memphis. He could be dangerous next week.
With the amount of pettiness that has gone back between the two of them, I'm really surprised he didn't jump on a plane and go out there.
I think that you said it. Pettiness. That would be a crazy move. Was he eligible? Was he even the next spot? I mean, no. He'd already said he wasn't going. He was an early no-go.
Have you ever seen anything like what the two of them have going on right now?
Absolutely not. When he did the "I love my driver," and then gave that look, I was like, oh my, he didn't, and he did. I mean, you see it in other sports, and it's almost accepted or expected. But you don't see it in golf very often. You might hear it on the range from a guy or two, but not on national TV like that. I mean, and the whole thing with when Bryson walked by him, the way Brooks had reacted, it's classic. And my son's a Bryson guy, and he somewhat doesn't understand it. And I said, here's what you got to understand. A lot of people don't understand Bryson. I don't understand him. And for about a year and a half, I let it piss me off. And instead now, I just respect him.
For me, it was when Bryson's caddy quit and Koepka immediately tweeted out love for his caddy. That's
I mean, it's clear that Brooks has got the upper hand and maybe worrying about it more than he should, but we'll see. It's, anything to me that adds a little spice and brings in a guy like Joe Roderick to pay attention, or, Brian Henson or somebody else that's maybe not a golf geek. I wanted to get a Henson mention. He's paying me these days now with the Indianapolis Tribune or Star.
Hey, he's Jay Randolph Jr. I'm Joe Roderick. This is Lunch with Claibs and Joe. Today it's Lunch with Jay and Joe here on ClaibsOnline.com. We are driven by Munganess St. Louis Acura, sponsored by Ryan Kelly, the home loan expert. Find him online at thehomeloanexpert.com. And our friends over at Ameren. Back right after this.
Every day, Ameren, Illinois works to deliver reliable energy throughout the state to on-the-go families, in-the-know grandparents, and busy students. But did you know we also have ways to manage your energy? Paperless billing, outage notifications, pick a due date, auto pay, and so much more. So no matter who you are or how you use your energy, there's an option that's right for you. Learn more at amerenillinois.com/options.
Back here on Lunch with Jay and Joe here on ClaibsOnline.com. What, you didn't know we could run commercials like that?
I mean, that's neat. That is really hot. Congratulations. I got to figure out how to do that. Sell some more advertising.
It's one click. It's been sitting there for you the entire time. You use the exact same account that I do. It's been right there.
All right. Okay. The little video clip thing.
Yeah, get the folks out at Sullivan Golf Course to make a commercial, and you can run it during your stuff. What all are you doing? What all golf shows are you running right now?
So we have the Lesson Tee each week with Family Golf, that fantastic facility in the heart of Kirkwood on Marshall Road. Adam Betts has built a palatial golf palace. I can't imagine if they'd have had that when I was 14 or 15. My mom would have been driving me there every day. We've got the UHY Prep Profile, which I love. Starting to see some of these kids, Joe, play well into college and even turn pro. We've been doing it for 5 years, recognizing a junior golfer, boy or girl, who's had success and also doing well academically. And we also do the Metropolitan Report for the Metropolitan Amateur Golf Association. They do a fantastic job governing the game in our area and conducting events. Next weekend, they've got their signature amateur event, the Metropolitan Amateur Championship at St. Louis Country Club, which should be good. And I don't know for sure, but you may have never seen St. Louis Country Club. I think it's open to the public on Sunday for that. So if you're a golf geek and never been to STLCC, you can go that day, I think.
You excited for the event coming up in St. Louis here in a few months?
What event?
The one with Jack coming up in what is it, September?
The Champions Tour?
Yeah.
No.
Why?
I'd rather not say.
Okay. We can move on then.
I think it's best that I don't say. I don't wish. I should make a mention that Norwood, I am a huge fan of Norwood Hills Country Club and know a ton of members. That in no way is any shot towards Norwood Hills. The main thing may be my belief that we are better suited to host a bigger type of golf tournament every 10 years on the PGA Tour than have a couple-year run of the Champions Tour, which we tried before and was much more popular at the time. I don't know if you've checked out any leaderboards on the Champions Tour recently. No, and nobody has, Joe. So I hope it goes well, but I'm not down with it.
I'll put you in better spirits. We'll come back and talk a little Mizzou and wrap things up after this.
You know, the only thing faster than this supersonic golf cart are the closing times at thehomeloanexpert.com. Mortgage rates on the twos, and we have a 21-day closing guarantee. Apply online today at thehomeloanexpert.com.
Now that guy, he makes me happy, rye bread. I like me some Ryan Kelly.
He's climbing a mountain. He just finished the first ever hero lone climb down at the Guadalupe Peak in Texas. You can go to the keepclimbingfoundation.org for more information on that, or follow any of the Home Loan Expert social media pages. They're doing a climb a month now to smaller climbs leading up to the big annual climb, which Claibs has volunteered me to go and do next year with Ryan. I don't know the details of it yet, but I know Ryan's talking about somewhere in Africa is what he has volunteered me to go do. I'm not ready for that, Jay. I'm trying to figure out how I can swim a mile in a lake right now. That's my top concern.
I told you earlier, I was looking on Facebook the other day, and I'm looking, and I know you're a runner, and I start looking to see what trail you were running, and it showed water and a lake.
Yeah.
And I said, I wonder if he's going to do a triathlon, and you said you're going to do it in Chicago.
4 weeks from this Sunday, August 29th. Yeah. I guess we get in. I'm looking up. So I'm so unprepared for this right now that I started looking the other day about some of the details of it, because I'm like, oh yeah, I got to take my bike up there and give it to them a day early. And they're like, yeah, you could do that a day early, but all your shoes and everything else, I have to drop it off that morning at 4 a.m.
At 4 a.m. before you do this?
Yes. Yeah. So I have to go there and be downtown Chicago at 4 a.m. giving them all this stuff to get ready to jump into the water at 6 a.m.
You start with the swim?
Yes. Yeah. Swim, bike, run. I'm not ready for this.
Can we stream that?
I would imagine that there are going to be ways to track me during this. Again, these are all things that, like, I had people the other day tell, because I went swimming with a few people that do like the Ironman stuff. That's a lot longer. And they're telling me
Ironman people.
Yeah, they're telling me details of what to expect that day. I'm not ready for any of this. I am. Yeah.
Well, it pains me to think about it, but I mean, you need to get after it then.
I know. I got a month. I went and ordered another suit the other day. It should be coming in from Amazon this afternoon.
Is this a full suit?
So this is just the regular suit. So it's the shorts and then a sleeveless shirt. I got one, but I don't want to go swim in the dirty lake water in the one I plan to wear the day of the race. So I went and got another one just to wear for that.
May I request you please post pictures pre-jump?
I've already the suit I have already. I have pictures of me in it. So
love it.
Should I text it directly to you, or should I text it to the people I know you're going to send it to after I send it to you?
That's either way. I just put it on Facebook for all your people.
Hey, okay, so I know you're in Sullivan, Missouri. Is that big Mizzou country down there?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of Mizzou fans down here. I'd say that's their number one team.
As they come into the pro shop, are you talking to them about the addition of Oklahoma and Texas joining the SEC?
No, I think it's happening rather fast.
But it's not going to happen, I guess, until 2025. So all of this is in motion, but we still have 4 more years before we actually get there.
There's always the chance that there's some form of a working buyout or something within the leagues. It might, you never know. It could get down to 2 years. Part of it's a scheduling issue. And I know people go, what do you mean a scheduling issue? They got all the, these games are all scheduled, the stadiums, all that jazz.
They got games scheduled. They got football games scheduled in like the year 2032 already. That's on the calendar.
Joe, that takes it to 16, right?
It'd be 16 there, and I have seen the mock-ups of other teams leaving the Big 12 and moving around to where you would have 16 teams in the, I guess it would be the Pac-16. Yep. The Big 10 would have 16. ACC would have 16, and the SEC would have 16. So you would have 4 conferences with 16 teams each.
Which is pretty fascinating. I mean, when you think of the numbers like that at 64, and solid and universities and all the times we argued about different stuff, it certainly is an interesting time. I don't think there's any question about that. The potential of athletes getting paid or getting paid a stipend higher than what they've gotten, could potentially eliminate a lot of junk that we've seen and a lot of charlatans around athletics. Like everything, the only thing constant is change. And
Ryan Kelly's got some college athletes promoting his business now. Ryan Kelly jumped in on that. My guy Lawrence Brazil over at UMSL is one of the latest spokesmen for Ryan Kelly.
Yeah, I mean, I think when you look at how out of whack some of the numbers have gotten on having spokespeople or this or that, and the opportunity to create a relationship with a young rising athlete that people are starting to really attach themselves to, it's going to be very interesting. I mean, a lot of things, I keep saying interesting, it's more fascinating than anything because it is going to be such a change.
Well, I mean, just the fact that you look and what was back in the day, it was the Big 8, and now you're looking at conferences that have 16 teams in them, and they're going to make it work. And the fact is that Mizzou is going to go 4 years without playing some of these teams that are in their own conference.
Yeah, I was going to ask you. I mean, is it you play everybody on your side each year, and then maybe 2 or 3? Because I mean, how many are they going to add another game? I don't know.
Maybe take a game away, because if you're doing all this, do you go an 8-team playoff or a 16-team playoff? Do the winners of each, and
we know that's coming.
Eight teams is coming. 8 teams is definitely.
Well, and I think 8 teams. I mean, why dummy it down? Why do a EA Sports NCAA 64 tournament? I mean, I don't. I think. 8's a solid number. I think you can manage 8. But again, if you've got 8 teams in your division and you're playing them 7 times, you're at 7 games there, 3 non-conference, 2 maybe against the other conference. I mean, the other side of your conference. I don't know. And then the rivalry game that everybody,
I think, you will see some crossover, and maybe if you have 4 mega conferences, you see, how in basketball you have the Big 10 ACC thing. Maybe you start to throw that in every year with that. I do think if the next step will be 8, I think they'll end up getting to 12 and then stopping there, and we'll see a pause for several years they'll get to a 12-team playoff and give those 4 teams a bye in the first round.
The 4 top seeds, maybe the 4 conference winners. I mean,
yeah.
If you really wanted to go that way and eliminate the independents, and we've got our own thing. I don't know what they're going to do. It's they're going to have to figure it out
and that's you could take those bowl games and you can turn them into this. You don't, you could take the Poinsettia Bowl and say, you know what, hey, you guys get the one of the first play-in games, for this, and do it that way, and everybody's happy in the end. So. It's definitely going to be happening, I think. But Jay, by the time 2030 hits, I think we'll be we'll see a very different landscape of college football.
I think
college sports in general.
I think you're going to see a completely different landscape of sports. I think you're dead on the college aspects, as much as the media aspects have already changed. There's more coming, so I'm glad to be along for the ride and watching and doing some stuff.
Jay, before we wrap things up here, I do want to give you a chance again to tell everybody how they could find the Sullivan Golf Course online, where they can book their stuff and what kind of events. I know you're always putting together weekend tournaments, one-day tournaments, big money deals. You make the cups bigger and let the people go out there and play in that. What do you got coming up?
We got a giant Calcutta. We're almost at 80 teams. It's a 2-day event next August 7th and 8th, and still got a couple of spots. If we get to 90, $1,000 and 5 flights to the first place winners. So it's going to be a lot of fun. They've told me all about it. It's an annual event. Just go to Sullivan Golf Course, or go to our Facebook page, and you'll see all the information you need to on Sullivan. I play on there sometimes and post some stuff, so check it out. And Joe, it's always good to be with you, my man, and I hope my man Claibs is enjoying his vacation.
And I was going to wait till the very end of this just because I know you like it so much, and I was going to wait till the end.
I'm going to tell everybody what I told you. I wasn't kidding. I said, Joe, you look like that wrestler. He said, what wrestler? I said, Hunter Hearst Helmsley. That's Triple H, right?
Yes, it is.
Look at you, Triple H.
I'll take that. Jay, thank you so much for jumping in. And of course, your stuff can be seen also here on the Claibs Online YouTube page. So everybody should go there, check it out, subscribe to that. We are putting up more and more video than ever before there on the Claibs Online YouTube page, including what Rammer and I will be doing here in about 25 minutes, and that is the Daily Cards Live. We took our daily podcast. We're doing it live now on Twitter, on Facebook, on YouTube, talking Cardinals for about 10, 12 minutes each and every day right here.
You need to do me a favor.
Yeah.
You need to tell that man I said hello.
I will absolutely do that.
He is one of my most favorite people of all time.
He's out there doing stuff in the Ozarks now, which I assume, my Missouri geography is terrible. I assume it's right there by Sullivan. So
about an hour and a half, Joe, but that's all right. He and Vern are having success.
They definitely are. He is J. Randolph Jr. I'm Joe Roderick. Claibs is back next week here on the show. He'll be back on the Cardinal broadcast on Friday. This has been another edition of Lunch with Claibs and Joe, powered by Ameren, Illinois, driven by Munganast St. Louis Acura, and sponsored by Ryan Kelly, the home loan expert. Find him online at thehomeloanexpert.com. Talk to you next week.
St. Louis Acura has an unbeatable selection of new cars, like the new TLX with $2,500 in loyalty conquest offers and 0.9% financing for up to 60 months. We have all new 22 MDXs with 1.9% financing for up to 60 months, or get a great deal on a new lease. You can get the 21 Acura ILX as low as $239 per month for 36 months, or the new 21 Acura RDX for as little as $399 per month for 36 months. St. Louis Acura, better than ever for you.